If you want to be rich and successful, the first thing you must do is change the story in your mind. Stop believing you're a servant to money and start becoming its master. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the mindset that creates lasting wealth and unstoppable success. Most people spend their days chasing numbers, paychecks, bank balances, bonuses, as if wealth were something that can be handed to them. But the truth is far more profound. Wealth begins in the mind long before it ever touches your wallet. It begins with the choices you make, the thoughts you allow to dwell, and the discipline you decide to embrace. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a fertile garden. Every idea you nurture, every habit you cultivate is a seed. Some seeds grow weeds of scarcity, fear, and regret. Others bloom into freedom, prosperity, and purpose. Today, I want to teach you how to plant the seeds that the wealthy have been planting for centuries, not just to survive, but to thrive, to lead, and to leave a legacy. Because the harsh truth is this: most people are broke not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack a vision of who they could become. And when you change your vision, your habits, and your thinking, your entire world changes, starting with your financial destiny. Let me take you on this journey. I want you to imagine yourself at a table, maybe just like I once was, with a paycheck in front of you that barely covers the bills, with more obligations than there seems to be money. And yet, in that moment, there is a decision to be made, a decision that separates those who merely survive from those who will eventually thrive. You see, wealth does not come from earning more, it comes from respecting your future self. Too many people, perhaps even you at times, spend first on today and wonder why tomorrow is never any better. They pay bills, cover debts, and then see what is left over. Often, there is nothing left, and the cycle begins again. But if you truly want to change your life, the first rule is simple yet profound. Pay yourself first. Treat a portion of your income as sacred, untouchable. Before the rent is due, before the groceries are bought, before even the small pleasures of the week, you take care of your future self. You set aside 10%, perhaps 15%, and you honor it as non-negotiable. When I was young, I started with just $1 from every 10. It seemed insignificant at the time, almost laughable, yet that small act planted a seed. It taught me ownership, responsibility, and the undeniable truth that I am the master of my money, not its servant. You see, paying yourself first is not selfish. It is an acknowledgement that tomorrow matters. It is the recognition that every dollar you invest or save today is a worker marching on your behalf, building a foundation of freedom. And to make this work, you cannot rely on willpower alone. It is fleeting. You need a system. Automate the process. When your paycheck arrives, a portion is moved automatically into a savings account, an investment, or education fund, out of sight, yet working tirelessly for you. Over time, this small percentage compounds, grows, and eventually, it is no longer small at all. I remember checking my first few balances, amazed that these modest sums were already beginning to work for me. That is the magic, the momentum that begins the moment you honor your future self consistently. Track it, watch it grow, celebrate it, not as indulgence, but as proof that you are capable of planning, disciplined action, and foresight. Every payment to yourself is a declaration. Your future is worth more than your present momentary comforts. It is a quiet but powerful act of self-respect, and it is the very first brick in the house of financial freedom. Start small if you must, but start today. Because the moment you begin to pay yourself first, your relationship with money changes. You are no longer chasing, begging, or pleading. You are guiding, commanding, and building. That simple choice, repeated day by day, week by week, will eventually separate you from the many who merely wish for wealth and place you firmly among those who create it. Pay yourself first, and you begin to own your future. Let me share something that many people never fully grasp. Earning a lot of money does not make you wealthy. I've seen it countless times. People make good salaries, even great salaries, and yet they live paycheck to paycheck, wondering why their efforts never seem to translate into freedom. The truth is, wealth is not just what comes in, it's what you keep and how you use it. True wealth comes from disciplined spending. Most people spend emotionally, reacting to ads, peer pressure, or fleeting desires. They buy what feels good in the moment and wonder why their bank accounts never grow. The wealthy, on the other hand, spend intentionally. Every dollar has a purpose. Every purchase is a decision aligned with long-term goals. I remember a time early in my career when I made more than I had ever imagined, but I also spent more than I earned. My mentor sat me down and said something simple, yet life-changing. Live on less than you earn and watch what happens. The first step is clarity. You need to know exactly where your money goes. From there, you divide it intentionally. I like to think in simple percentages. 70% for living expenses, 10% for learning and personal growth, 10% for investments, and 10% for giving. This structure is not rigid, but a guiding framework. It reminds you that money serves multiple purposes. It sustains you, it grows you, it multiplies for you, and it blesses others through you. Here's the practical part. Every time you reach for your wallet, pause. Ask yourself, does this bring me closer to my financial goals, or is it just a fleeting pleasure? That simple question changes your entire mindset. I once found myself about to spend on a fancy gadget I didn't need. I paused and asked that very question, and I realized those funds could go toward a course that would increase my skills and earning potential. That pause, that small moment of intentionality, shifted the trajectory of my finances. Over time, these small decisions accumulate into something extraordinary. Living below your means is not about deprivation, it's about freedom. It's about choosing long-term security over short-term satisfaction. It teaches you self-control, foresight, and the satisfaction that comes from watching your wealth grow because of wise choices rather than luck. When you consistently live below your means, you create breathing room in your life. You have resources to invest, to learn, to give, and to seize opportunities as they arise. You are no longer a servant to impulse. You are the architect of your financial life. Start by examining your current spending habits. Identify where emotion drives decisions and replace it with intention. Use the allocation framework to guide your choices, and let every purchase serve a purpose. Over time, you will see how small, disciplined actions compound into financial strength. Live below your means, and you take control of your life, your freedom, and your future. I want you to understand something that most people miss entirely. Working harder does not automatically make you wealthier. I've seen countless men and women spend long hours, exhausted and frustrated, thinking that sheer effort will pay the bills and secure their future. It doesn't. The world does not reward effort alone. Money follows value, not hours clocked. The people who create lasting wealth are those who increase their value in ways others cannot easily replicate. They become indispensable, not merely busy. Early in my own journey, I worked long hours at jobs that barely moved the needle. I thought the solution was to keep grinding, putting in more time, hoping income would catch up. But my mentor asked me a simple yet piercing question. Are you solving problems that others will pay a premium for? Or are you just adding more of the same effort everyone else can give? That question changed everything. I realized that to create real wealth, I had to invest in myself, develop skills that multiplied my impact, and become someone whose knowledge, insight, and capability commanded a higher return. The strategy is straightforward but not easy. Identify high-value skills, abilities that can solve bigger problems, influence decisions, or generate significant results. It might be mastering sales, understanding finance, improving communication, learning leadership, or developing technical expertise. Dedicate time weekly to hone these skills. It doesn't have to be a huge block of hours. Even small, consistent steps compound over time. Read books, attend seminars, practice deliberately, and apply what you learn immediately in your work, business, or personal projects. Knowledge unused is wasted, but skill applied creates results. Equally important is seeking mentorship and feedback. No one grows in isolation. The fastest path to increasing value is standing on the shoulders of those who have walked the path before you. I recall when I first sought guidance from someone experienced in sales and leadership. Their insights accelerated my learning in ways that years of trial and error never could. Feedback allows you to correct course quickly, refine your approach, and avoid costly mistakes. When you focus on becoming more valuable, money becomes a byproduct. The wealthy understand that the more problems you can solve, the more impact you can create, and the higher the rewards naturally follow. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You attract better clients, higher paying jobs, and opportunities that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Don't just aim to work harder, aim to work smarter and to become more. Elevate your skills, your knowledge, and your influence. Make yourself the kind of person whose contribution cannot be ignored. Over time, your increased value multiplies your income and opens doors to wealth that effort alone could never achieve. The choice is simple. Keep spinning your wheels, or focus on becoming a person whose value commands a premium and watch wealth follow naturally. Let me tell you something that most people never fully grasp. Money is like a river. It flows through your life whether you notice it or not, and if you don't pay attention, it slips away quietly, leaving you wondering where it all went. The truth is simple. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Awareness is the foundation of control, and clarity is power. Without a clear picture of where your money comes from and where it goes, you are navigating in the dark, hoping for the best, and hoping is not a strategy for wealth. Early in my journey, I lived on feel. I thought I was managing money because I could pay the bills, buy a cup of coffee, or cover some basic needs. But when I actually sat down and recorded every dollar earned and every dollar spent, I saw the truth. Small leaks, unnoticed purchases, impulse spending, these were eroding my financial potential. I realized that ignorance was costing me more than any debt ever could. From that moment, I began keeping a simple journal, writing down income, expenses, savings, and investments. It wasn't glamorous, but it was transformative. The strategy is straightforward. Keep a financial record, call it a journal, a spreadsheet, or even an app if you prefer. What matters is that it gives you a complete picture. Track every dollar, not just the large amounts, but the small ones too. That morning coffee, the occasional takeout, the impulse purchases, they all add up and they all matter. Once you see the flow clearly, you can begin to direct it consciously. Each week, review your records. Ask yourself, Where is my money going? What spending can be redirected to growth, investment, or self-improvement? The simple act of reviewing turns passive awareness into proactive control. Adjustments follow naturally. When you see patterns, you can make informed choices instead of reacting emotionally. Perhaps you discover that eating out 3 times a week costs more than a small investment in a personal development course. Perhaps subscriptions you forgot about are quietly draining your resources. Clarity gives you the power to make decisions aligned with your goals. Every dollar gains purpose when you assign it a role rather than letting it wander aimlessly. Tracking money is more than just accounting. It's a discipline that rewires your mindset. It transforms unconscious spending into intentional action. It gives you confidence, reduces stress, and lays the foundation for every other financial principle you will ever follow. When you know exactly where your money is, you no longer feel powerless. You can redirect, invest, save, and give with intention. You see opportunity instead of scarcity, control instead of chaos. Start today, even if it's simple. Record your income and expenses, review them weekly, and adjust accordingly. Let clarity guide your choices. Remember, what gets tracked gets transformed. Control your money, and you control your future. Let me share a truth that many overlook. Depending on a single paycheck is like standing on one leg in a storm. It might hold you up for a while, but when the winds of life blow, and they always do, you'll struggle to stay balanced. True financial freedom doesn't come from a single source of income. It comes from building multiple pillars, streams that flow together to support your life, even when one leg falters. Wealth is not just about what you earn, it's about creating stability, resilience, and options through diversified income. Early in my career, I relied solely on my job, believing that working hard and long hours would be enough. Then reality hit, a sudden expense, an unexpected event, and I realized how fragile my financial foundation was. That was the moment I understood the value of creating additional streams of income. I began small, testing side ventures, learning about investing, and monetizing skills I already had. It wasn't about getting rich overnight. It was about building security, a safety net, and opportunities for growth. The first step is to identify something you can start today, no matter how small. Maybe it's a side hustle leveraging a skill you already possess, a freelance project, or a small online business. Even a modest effort creates experience, confidence, and a new stream of cash. Next, consider investments, stocks, bonds, or digital products that can work for you while you focus on other activities. The goal is not to chase instant gains, but to steadily build assets that generate income independently of your time. Reinvesting is critical. Any profit from these ventures should flow back into growing them further, compounding like money in a well-chosen investment. Over time, these multiple streams strengthen each other. Your job may cover day-to-day expenses, but side hustles and investments create options, freedom, and security. The more streams you establish, the less vulnerable you are to the ups and downs of life or the economy. Diversifying income also changes your mindset. You begin to see opportunities rather than obstacles, to think creatively about value, and to understand that money is a tool to be directed, not just earned. Each stream becomes a teacher. One teaches discipline, another patience, and another strategic thinking. By nurturing multiple streams, you are not just accumulating money, you are building resilience, confidence, and independence. Remember, wealth is not built in a single leap. It is the result of small, consistent actions across multiple fronts. Start where you are, even if it seems modest. One small side hustle, one small investment, one reinvested profit, they all grow over time. When combined, these streams form a river of financial freedom that no single storm can stop. Begin today. Identify your first additional income stream. Invest consistently and reinvest your gains. Let multiple pillars carry you to stability, growth, and freedom. Your future will be stronger because you refuse to rely on only one path. Let me tell you something I've learned over the years. A dream without a deadline is just a wish. Many people wander through life with visions of wealth and success, imagining someday they'll get there, but never creating a clear path to make it real. The difference between those who remain in hope and those who achieve is clarity. Wealth is born when you take your ideas and turn them into measurable, time-bound goals. It's not enough to say, "I want to be rich someday." You must define exactly what rich looks like for you and when you plan to get there. Early in my journey, I would dream of financial independence, thinking hard work alone would carry me there. I had no written plan, no milestones, and no way to measure progress. Months passed, years even, and I realized I was moving without direction. That's when I began the practice of writing down goals, what I wanted to earn, save, invest, and achieve within specific time frames. I started with 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years. That simple act transformed my focus and energy. Suddenly, every decision had purpose, every action had direction. Breaking large goals into smaller, actionable steps is critical. A 10-year goal can feel overwhelming, even impossible. But when you divide it into annual, monthly, and weekly milestones, it becomes manageable. Each milestone is a checkpoint, a moment to adjust your course, celebrate progress, and keep motivation alive. For example, if your 5-year goal is to save a certain amount for investment, your monthly goal might be to save a fixed portion of your income, and your weekly goal could be to track every expense and redirect spending toward that savings. These smaller actions compound, creating momentum that turns vision into reality. Aligning your daily actions with your long-term goals is where transformation happens. Every choice, every purchase, every hour of work, every decision to invest in learning should serve the future you've defined. If you act without alignment, you'll drift, spending effort in ways that don't build toward your ultimate destination. But when daily decisions feed your long-term objectives, success becomes inevitable. It's the compound effect of focused, intentional effort over time. Reviewing progress regularly is equally important. Life changes, challenges arise, and goals need adjustment. A weekly review helps you see where you are, celebrate small victories, and identify where strategies need refinement. This process keeps you honest with yourself and ensures that your actions are always moving you closer to your vision. Start today by writing down your goals with deadlines. Break them into manageable steps, align your daily actions, and track your progress consistently. Remember, dreams without clarity remain fantasies, but with precise goals and dedicated effort, you turn your vision into measurable success. Set your direction, commit to the journey, and let every step count toward the wealth you desire. Let me share something that took me years to fully understand. Money by itself is neither good nor bad. It's simply a tool. Too many people chase money as if it were the ultimate prize, thinking that once they have enough, life will suddenly be perfect. I've seen it countless times. People earn more, yet stress and worry multiply. The truth is, wealth isn't in the accumulation, it's in the way you direct what you already have. Money is power only when it's used intentionally and it can either build freedom or chain you to a cycle of reaction and scarcity. Early in my own life, I had very little, and yet I wasted what I had on impulse and instant gratification. I learned the hard way that unless you decide what each dollar's purpose is, it will disappear without giving anything back. That's when I began thinking of money like a team of workers. Each dollar is an employee, and it needs clear instructions. Invest, learn, grow, give, or spend wisely. If you fail to assign tasks, they wander off, accomplishing nothing and leaving you frustrated. But when you give each dollar a role, you turn a simple paycheck into a system that works for you. The strategy is simple, yet transformative. Create categories for your money: living, investing, learning, and giving. This allocation helps you direct funds where they will multiply value rather than vanish in unplanned spending. Living expenses cover necessities. Investing makes your money work for you. Learning increases your ability to generate more wealth. And giving opens doors to abundance and relationships. I remember when I started following this practice, even with small amounts, the clarity it provided was life-changing. I no longer felt helpless or reactive. I began seeing the future I was building with every decision I made. Review your money monthly. Ask yourself, is every dollar working for me, or am I simply watching it slip away? This act of reflection is like tending a garden. By actively reviewing and aligning your spending with your long-term financial vision, you create consistency and direction. Over time, what feels small now, $50 invested in learning, $100 in a side business, compounds into something significant. Remember, the wealthy aren't necessarily those who earn the most. They are those who master the use of what they have. Treat money as a servant, not a master. Direct it, assign it tasks, and hold it accountable. When you do, money becomes more than currency. It becomes a vehicle for freedom, growth, and influence. It serves your life rather than controls it. And suddenly, financial decisions stop being stressful. They become opportunities. Start today by reviewing your funds, assigning roles, and making each dollar purposeful. Build systems that reflect your vision. Your money should be a reflection of your priorities, a servant to your ambitions, and a tool for building the life you desire. Let me tell you something most people overlook. You don't need a fortune to start building wealth. Far too many sit and wait for the perfect opportunity, the right job, or a windfall before they take action. I've seen it over and over, people believing that without millions in the bank they can't begin. But here's the truth. Wealth doesn't start with grand gestures. It starts with small, consistent steps, repeated over time, and the magic of compounding does the rest. When I first began managing my finances, I had almost nothing. I was broke, working long hours, and had more bills than dollars in my pocket. Yet I made a simple decision. I would start with whatever I had. I set aside just $1, sometimes $5, from each paycheck and invested it. Small? Yes. Insignificant? At first glance, absolutely. But that small habit created ownership and momentum. It wasn't about the amount, it was about starting. That is the mindset that separates those who remain stuck from those who eventually soar. The strategy is straightforward. Begin with modest investments, small side projects, or incremental savings. Don't wait to have a full financial cushion or a perfect plan. Even $50 a month put into a diversified fund or an educational course builds both habit and value. The secret isn't how much you put in initially, but that you consistently put something in. That consistency compounds, just as money compounds in the right investment. One small, disciplined action repeated daily or weekly eventually becomes a force that cannot be ignored. Starting small also reduces fear. Many people hesitate because they're afraid of losing a large sum. But when you start with manageable amounts, the stakes are lower and the learning is priceless. You discover what works, what doesn't, and you build confidence without risking your life savings. This is how resilience is formed. I recall my first side project, a simple service I could offer in my local community. It was far from perfect and income was modest, but the experience taught me lessons that no book or mentor could provide. Over time, I scaled it, reinvested profits, and eventually it became a meaningful contributor to my financial stability. As your skills, knowledge, and income grow, so should your investments and projects. The principle is simple: scale over time. Start where you are, with what you have, and let your efforts grow alongside your capacity. Patience is the multiplier here. Those who try to leap to millions without small foundations often stumble, but those who begin modestly and scale steadily create wealth that lasts. So, commit to action today. Start small, be consistent, learn, and grow. Every modest effort you make is a seed, and when nurtured with time, discipline, and reinvestment, it blossoms into lasting freedom and prosperity. Let me share something that most people miss entirely. Wealth is not about how much money you make, it's about what that money does for you. Many people spend their lives chasing a paycheck, buying things that impress others, and worrying that they'll never have enough. But here's the principle that separates the financially free from the financially trapped. Build assets, not liabilities. True wealth is created by things that put money in your pocket, not take it out. A car that depreciates, a flashy gadget, or constant dining out may bring momentary pleasure, but they do not build your financial future. They are liabilities dressed up as desires. I remember early in my life, I was tempted by every new gadget or style that came along. I thought earning more meant I could spend more. But I watched those who were building true wealth. They weren't necessarily earning more than me, but their focus was different. They invested in assets, small businesses, rental properties, stocks, books that expanded their knowledge, and skills that could be monetized. These people understood the difference between money that works for them and money that disappears. That observation changed my path. I realized that my paycheck alone would never create freedom unless I learned to direct it toward things that grow. The strategy is simple but requires discipline. Each year, identify at least one asset you can acquire or develop. It doesn't have to be extravagant or risky, but it must have the potential to generate income or appreciate over time. Perhaps it's buying a share of stock, taking a course that allows you to monetize a skill, or starting a small side business. It could even be creating content, a book, a course, or a blog that continues to produce revenue long after the initial effort. Think of every purchase as either an investment or a drain. Will it earn or consume money? Converting knowledge and skills into assets is another overlooked principle. If you have expertise, experience, or a skill others need, it can be transformed into something that earns money for you. Teaching, consulting, or creating products from your skills allows you to turn time and knowledge into income streams. I personally started small, investing time into learning, communication, leadership, and business principles. Over time, these abilities became assets themselves, generating returns in ways I couldn't have imagined when I began. Finally, avoid lifestyle inflation. It's tempting to increase spending as income grows, but that only builds liabilities faster than assets. True financial freedom comes from keeping your lifestyle controlled. directing extra resources toward asset building rather than consumption. The wealthy do not measure wealth by what they spend, but by what they own that works for them. So, focus relentlessly on acquiring, creating, and growing assets, and let every decision reinforce the path toward financial independence. Your future self will thank you. Let me tell you a truth that many overlook. Working harder alone will never create the kind of wealth that lasts. Your time is finite, your energy limited, and yet most people trade hours for dollars as if this were the only path to prosperity. Real financial freedom comes when you learn to leverage, when you use other people's time, money, and systems to multiply your results. Wealth grows exponentially, not linearly, when you stop thinking in terms of just your own effort. Early in my journey, I tried doing everything myself. I would work long hours, thinking sheer effort would carry me forward. But I noticed something. The people who were moving faster, creating opportunities, and building real freedom weren't necessarily doing more themselves. They were using leverage. They had systems, investments, partners, and teams amplifying the results of their actions. That's when I realized that if I wanted to grow, I had to stop seeing time as a personal constraint and start seeing it as something I could extend through leverage. The first step is automation. Set up your savings, investments, and even routine payments so that your future grows whether you remember to act or not. Automation is not just convenience, it's leverage over forgetfulness and procrastination. When a portion of your income automatically moves into investments, you remove the need to rely on willpower alone. Over years, those automated contributions compound quietly and powerfully. I remember setting up small automatic investments early in my career. I barely noticed the money leaving my account each month, yet years later, those contributions had grown far beyond what I could have achieved manually and without constant thought or effort. The second form of leverage is people. Whether it's business, consulting, or partnerships, working with others multiplies what one individual can accomplish. Delegation doesn't mean shirking responsibility. It means strategically using skilled people to handle parts of a project so that your energy is spent on high-value, high-leverage tasks. I recall mentoring young entrepreneurs who hired assistants or formed partnerships early. They didn't do less, they did more because they leveraged expertise and time that was not their own. Finally, consider financial leverage. Investments, royalties, rental properties, and online courses are tools that allow your money to work for you. Each dollar you put to work can generate returns without continuous personal labor. I learned this by starting small, creating products and content that earned royalties, and gradually building passive income streams. What began as modest efforts eventually provided freedom to pursue bigger opportunities, simply because the systems I built worked while I slept, traveled, or focused on other projects. Leverage is the multiplier of results. When you automate, delegate, and invest in scalable ventures, your impact grows far beyond your individual hours. Stop trading time directly for money alone. Instead, build systems, partnerships, and assets that allow your efforts to work for you, and wealth will follow exponentially. Let me speak plainly. The desire for instant gratification is one of the greatest obstacles to building real wealth. I've seen countless people earn decent incomes, yet remain trapped in a cycle of fleeting pleasures, upgrading their car before their savings, dining out lavishly instead of investing in their future, buying gadgets that lose value the moment they leave the store. They live for today and wonder why tomorrow never brings freedom. True wealth isn't earned in a moment of indulgence. It's cultivated patiently, deliberately, with foresight and discipline. Early in my career, I faced the same temptation. I wanted to keep up with friends, impress others, and enjoy life's comforts immediately. But I quickly realized that every dollar spent impulsively was a soldier sent to fight for someone else's freedom, not mine. My mentor taught me a simple, powerful lesson. Wealth is grown in the unseen moments when you delay pleasure today to create freedom tomorrow. I began asking myself before every purchase, will this serve my long-term goals or will it steal from them? That single question changed the way I viewed money. The strategy is simple but profound. Think in terms of long-term wealth, not temporary satisfaction. Instead of spending without thought, allocate resources to areas that compound over time. Investments, education, business opportunities, or financial instruments that grow quietly and steadily. Even a modest amount, consistently applied, yields far more than any instant luxury. I remember setting aside small sums each month into investments when I barely had extra cash to spare. It felt like a sacrifice at the time, but years later, those small, disciplined actions had grown into a significant foundation for freedom. Practical steps make this philosophy real. Before any purchase, pause and consider whether it serves your financial future. Will it help you reach your milestones, or will it set you back? Write down long-term wealth goals, whether for 1 year, 5 years, or 10. Break them into measurable milestones and let them guide your daily financial decisions. And importantly, reward yourself only after progress has been made. Using rewards as a marker of achievement rather than a momentary indulgence ensures your pleasures align with growth, not derail it. I've also found that long-term thinking isn't just about money. It reshapes behavior, habits, and mindset. When you learn to delay gratification, your decisions become intentional. You begin to value leverage, consistency, and compounding over fleeting satisfaction. You start building systems, investing in education, and creating assets that will serve not only you, but generations to come. Wealth is a patient gardener, and every delayed indulgence is a seed planted in fertile soil. So remember, real prosperity isn't found in what feels good today, it's in the discipline to prioritize tomorrow. Delay gratification, act with purpose, and watch as small, patient decisions compound into extraordinary long-term wealth. Wealth, in its truest sense, is not measured by the size of your bank account, the cars you drive, or the vacations you take. It's measured by the impact you leave behind, the systems you create, and the values you instill that continue long after you are gone. I've met people who amassed great sums, yet when they passed, nothing of their hard-earned lessons or disciplined habits endured. And I've met others who may not have left millions, but they left wisdom, principles, and structures that guided generations. That, my friends, is real wealth, a legacy that transcends the fleeting satisfaction of income. Early in my life, I learned the importance of thinking beyond my own needs. I remember a conversation with a mentor who said, "It's not enough to work for your paycheck. You must build something that will serve others after you're gone." That idea struck me like a thunderclap. I realized that every financial decision I made, every investment or skill I developed, had the potential to ripple far beyond me. If I could create assets, knowledge, and habits that outlasted me, I would have achieved something far more valuable than temporary comfort. Influence, guidance, and freedom for those who follow. The philosophy here is simple. Focus not on earning income alone, but on building systems, habits, and assets that multiply and endure. You plant it, water it, and nurture it. The shade it provides tomorrow benefits not just you, but the generations that come after. Investments in education, financial literacy, or businesses that operate beyond your daily attention are branches of that tree. The knowledge you impart to your children, employees, or mentees is the root system that ensures it stands firm through storms. I have witnessed firsthand how teaching someone the principles of disciplined saving, intentional spending, and asset creation transformed not just their finances, but their family's future. Practical steps turn this philosophy into reality. Begin by documenting your financial principles, what guides your decisions, how you allocate resources, and what values you prioritize. This record will serve as a compass for those who come after you. Establish estate plans, trusts, or investment structures that protect and grow resources for your family's long-term benefit. Don't just focus on wealth accumulation. Focus on financial literacy, mentorship, and the intentional passing down of habits that generate freedom. Guide others, whether family members, employees, or mentees, with patience and clarity, showing them not only what to do, but why it matters. Legacy building requires thinking in terms of decades, not months or years. Every decision, from how you spend today to how you invest for the future, contributes to a system that can endure beyond your presence. Wealth, when applied with foresight and intention, becomes a multiplier. It educates, empowers, and elevates those around you. I've seen families transform not by a sudden inheritance, but by a culture of disciplined, purposeful financial thinking. That is the true power of building a legacy. It converts your lifetime of effort into a lasting influence. So, aim higher than income. Create assets, systems, and habits that teach, inspire, and sustain others. Build a legacy that endures, and your wealth will live far beyond your own lifetime. The people you surround yourself with have an extraordinary influence on your thinking, your habits, and ultimately your financial destiny. I've often said that we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Think about that for a moment. If your closest friends complain about money, make impulsive purchases, and shy away from learning, it's nearly impossible to rise above that mindset. Conversely, if you spend your time with those who are disciplined, value education, and actively work to grow their wealth, you're naturally pulled into that orbit of success. The psychology here is profound. Your environment shapes your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your actions. I recall a period early in my career when I felt stuck, earning just enough to get by, but never enough to build the life I dreamed of. I realized that I was spending time with people who measured success by immediate gratification rather than long-term growth. I wasn't learning new ideas, I wasn't challenged, and my financial habits reflected that stagnation. Then, I made a conscious decision to seek out individuals who had achieved the kind of financial freedom I aspired to. I attended seminars, joined discussion groups, and reached out to mentors who had walked the path before me. My conversations changed, my mindset expanded, and even my daily habits began to align with principles of wealth. Simply being in the presence of those who thought differently rewired how I approached money, investment, and opportunity. The strategy is simple but powerful. Immerse yourself in environments where wealth, discipline, and growth are the common language. Attend financial seminars or mastermind events where ideas, strategies, and experiences are shared. Join online communities of investors, entrepreneurs, and professionals who consistently challenge themselves to grow. Read and discuss the same books, watch the same educational content, and adopt the habits you observe in those who have already achieved success. This is not about imitation. It's about learning and adapting the thought processes and disciplines that produce results. Accountability is another key aspect. Schedule regular conversations with mentors or peers to review progress, discuss challenges, and gain perspective. When you verbalize your goals to someone who understands and supports them, you're far more likely to follow through. Mentors can point out blind spots, suggest better strategies, and push you to take action when you feel stuck. Peers can inspire and motivate, creating an environment where excellence is expected rather than optional. The reality is, wealth is not just about what you know, but who you learn from and collaborate with. Surrounding yourself with wealth-minded people accelerates your learning, sharpens your decision-making, and keeps you disciplined when challenges arise. I've seen countless individuals transform their financial trajectory simply by changing their associations. It's the subtle influence of consistent exposure to the right mindset that compounds over time, just like interest on a well-managed investment. So, choose your circle wisely, seek those who push you, challenge you, and inspire growth. Wealth isn't built in isolation, it's nurtured in communities where knowledge, discipline, and ambition converge. Your network is not just your support system, it's the soil in which your financial success can truly take root and flourish. Now, take a moment and reflect. Your financial future isn't shaped by luck or chance. It's forged by the choices you make today. Start by paying yourself first, living intentionally, and building habits that serve long-term growth. Surround yourself with those who inspire success, track your progress, and invest in skills and assets that multiply your opportunities. Don't wait for perfect circumstances. Begin small, act consistently, and let discipline guide you. Commit to one actionable step this week, whether saving, learning, or investing, and watch momentum transform your life. Your future self will thank you.